Okay, we're ready to go. Hi everyone, I'm Phil Kaufman, Community Leader of ABestWeb, and I'd like to welcome all of you to our first ABestWeb Connect webinar. The topic today is marketing strategies your competition does not want you to know. You can submit questions anytime during the webinar and we'll answer them at the end of the presentation. Our featured speaker today is veteran web marketer Ross Dunn. Ross founded Stepforth Web Marketing back in 1997 when search engine optimization was just emerging. Since then, he has worked with the smallest of mom-and-pop shops to giants such as Time Incorporated, where he taught SEO to people marketing such online magazines as Sports Illustrated and Fortune magazine. Ross and his team prefer working with small and medium-sized businesses where their skills and advice can make the biggest difference. Ross has since also launched MarketingHigh.com, aimed at helping small businesses with limited budgets. MarketingHigh.com offers unlimited web marketing advice to small businesses for just $49 per year. Ross is also host of the world-renowned podcast SEO 101 on webmasterradio.fm, along with his co-host John Carcutt. SEO 101 now garners over 50,000 downloads per month. It's now my pleasure to turn the webinar over to Ross Dunn. Ross?
Thank you very much, Phil. It's very nice to have such an amazing introduction. Well, hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm very excited to bring this to you. It took a little bit of work for us to get everything in place here, and thank you for your patience. Now, this webinar, being that it's for ABestWeb, that site based its growth on affiliates. So I put a bit of an affiliate spin on this, but it'll work for any one of you out there who does not happen to have an affiliate business or anything else, in any kind of business actually this will work for. So we'll get into some of the more detailed things that might be a little bit intense at points, but I'm going to do my best to make it as understandable as possible. And if anything does seem overwhelming, just post a question and we'll get to it at the end. I'll make sure to leave quite a bit of time for it. We only have 40 slides. I tend to add a bit to each slide with a story or two if they tend to come up, but it shouldn't take too long. I'm hoping around 40 minutes to leave us about 20 minutes of questions. All right, let's get going here. So let's look at what you're going to get out of today. My biggest thing is a lot of people, when they call me, they want to know about rankings. How can I improve my rankings? How can I get top rankings for this, top rankings for that? Why did my competitor move me out of the top two? What am I doing wrong? You almost hear them pulling their hair. Well, you need to go beyond just focusing on rankings, especially these days, because what you see is not what other people see. Google is all about personalization. When you're looking at a website, or at a web result, you're not seeing what everyone else is seeing. And sometimes you may be very close, and there are certain methods to use to see what everyone sees, but what everyone could see. That's the point, because no matter what you do, you can't see what other people see because it's all based on what they have searched in the past. So let's look at some of the other ways you can market your business. And we will get into a few SEO points. Don't worry about it. I've got to give you a few tips, but really, how do you create immensely shareable content? Especially in the affiliate world, it's so difficult to stand out. It's really difficult to create anything that's going to be any different than any of the other guys who may be marketing the same products. Next, how do you differentiate yourself among affiliates? So if you are an affiliate and, again, you're all selling the same product, how are you going to be any different? And this applies to any business. How do you differentiate yourself? At Stepforth, we differentiate ourselves by saying we're all about small business and we're very custom. We will work one-on-one. You can talk to me, the CEO, anytime you want. We're very approachable and very open. That is definitely a differentiation. And everyone has a differentiation. They may not even know what it is, or they may just need to enhance it a bit. These are different ways that you can stand out from the rest. Next are a list of tools you'll want to know about. I guarantee some of these you're already using if you're into SEO at all. However, that never hurts to remind you, but there are some gold takeaways too in there. And amidst all this, there's a few tips and bits and pieces. Now, let's look at what your differentiator could be. Now, in this section, I want to talk about not only how to differentiate yourself, but some of the simplest ways to do it that really might be a little bit shocking to you. First of all, what are your competitors doing? Do the opposite. It's an old phrase, but it's true. I mean, if you are going to stand out, you're going to have to do something that the competitors aren't doing. And typically, they've tried everything except for the opposite of what they're doing. and that's really true when you're talking about extremely competitive industries. The other thing you do is you never want to reinvent the wheel. Now, of course, I think this is a pretty cool looking wheel personally, but you don't really want to reinvent it if you don't have to. And so, you know, that doesn't, these two may seem to contradict each other. You know, do the opposite, but don't reinvent the wheel. Well, the fact of the matter is, really, just be yourself. Yeah, I guess you could be this guy. Whatever. You don't need to fit in, right? The point is, if you be yourself, that will not only come across as very, what's the word for it, authentic, but it'll also come across as someone who's passionate about what they do. And I sort of thought of a few things that really stood out. And one of my favorite South Park episodes, and of course Barney from I've already forgotten the name of the show, but I loved him. Authority. Be the authority. Be the person people go to when they want to know more about whatever it might be you're selling, or whatever. It could be a service, it could be a product, it could be anything, but be the person that people think of when they need an answer. And it may take time. I mean, it took me, this is our 18th year, and I'm still a long ways from some of my competitors who have, I guess, a little more of that extroverted edge. Well, you know what? I'm still happy where I am, and it's worked. Everyone has their place they can fit in, but if you work hard at being an authority, you will get more business. And just love what you're doing. If you're in your business and you don't love it, what are you doing? Why are you there? It's going to suck the living life out of you. You need to enjoy what you're doing, at least partially, and at least have an edge to it that stands out from the rest and shows your passion. All of this will come to results. You'll get more plus ones here. Again, you're going to find out quickly on the show that I'm a very big Google Plus proponent, and I'll also prove why that's the case and why you need to be as well. But social, all of these shares will turn into money for you. It's just the way things are working these days, and it's getting more and more powerful by the day. Next, how do you do that? How do you use social to drive sales and SEO? And this is what your competitors are doing a poor job of doing. I almost guarantee it. I've never been so amazed by how many, like I talk to a lot of prospects on a regular basis. And I tend to look at what they're doing online and just to get an idea of what they are doing right and what they're doing wrong. 90.999% of the time, they are not doing social correctly. And it's not their fault. The fact is it's a bit overwhelming. It's always changing. It takes a great deal of time. At least it can, depending on your market. I should say that's a qualifier, because it does sometimes, there are ways to do it with less time. Also, it's one of those things that some people just don't like to do. No matter what you tell, how you tell them, it doesn't matter. It is a bit tough to do. That said, rankings are great, but I told about it. You can almost hear their hair pulling out. It's exhausting. So let's look at social. Okay, this is amazing. I love data like this. Technorati, decent data, right? They've been around a long time, and these are the services most likely to influence the purchase: retail sites, brand sites, blogs. And look at this, all social. That's awesome. These are people who are going and they're finding out about products, getting recommendations, reading more about them, watching video demos, hearing CEOs or business people talking about it on LinkedIn, watching it, maybe unboxing on YouTube, an unboxing on Google+, seeing photos from a brand new camera in the Google Plus area. Photography is huge in Google Plus. All of these things lend themselves to a purchase. Now, obviously, I can't leave out blogs. Blogs was before all of this, and a lot of times blogs are what drive the content that need to be shared, right? You have to have somewhere for that content to be. There are instances where Google Plus can be a fantastic place to do that, and I will cover that in a little bit, but obviously blogs are key. A lot of people listening will maybe going, blogs, I don't want to write anymore. No, thank you. Hey, I get it. I get it. And you don't, in some industries you simply can't. I mean, what can you write about, right? But you'll be surprised, very few industries present that issue. A lot of what you think you know and everyone else should know, they don't know. I have that problem all the time. I'm always thinking, I don't know what to write about. And then I'll talk to someone, maybe my office manager, Sarah, and I'll ask, what do you want to know more about? And it's amazing what I find. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, I can write about that. You don't think, it's called the curse of knowledge. And it's deadly true. We just don't realize that other people don't know this stuff. And when you start to share it, people believe quite quickly, once if you share it properly and you do a great job of the content, you want to be, again, a thought leader, they'll get hooked on the very simple fact that you are an expert at what you do. They will see it. It'll be very clear to them that you are the person they want to at least read more of and potentially trust more when it comes down to making a purchase or consulting someone at a later date. And you can bet your competitors are focused on brand sites and retail sites, putting all their time and money into that. Again, they are also into blogs. That's good, but are they promoting it properly? Facebook groups, YouTube, LinkedIn, Google+, and I shouldn't leave out Pinterest and Twitter and all the news sites at the bottom here. They're also very powerful. All of this stuff needs to be leveraged, or at least the ones that are proper for your marketplace. Not all of them will be, and I can't cover all that in this one webinar, but there are ways to at least maybe go to socialmention.com. It's one of the tools I'll share later. Go there and type in one of your competitors you know is doing really well. Find out where they're participating socially. If you know they're doing well on social, again, a little gossip's always a good thing, right? You can find out, oh yeah, they did really well for this Facebook campaign, or what did they do? What were they targeting? Find out. Use that information to your benefit. Now, another thing, and this was pretty interesting. I covered this on SEO 101 the other day with John Carcutt, and it was fascinating to us that searchmetrics.com, which is another tool online, it's great, has put out its ranking factors. These are the factors it has determined play a role in how well a website ranks. The first one, I have to admit, is, or John and I are still befuddled by that click-through rate. How can they see that? I mean, we understand that it's a metric. It's kind of a given. It's not a certainty, but it's a given within our industry that Google can see how often people click through to a page and whether or not they come back right away. That is a metric. So if you've got poor content, that's not going to work for you. They're going to come back, and Google's going to see, oh, we just sent business to someone, and they didn't have what that person wanted. And this happens on a regular basis, so you're going to start seeing a devaluing in your ranking. Relevant terms. Yes. Relevance. Relevance, relevance. Making sure everything you're writing about is extremely relevant to what you're trying to target. No-brainer. Obviously, you're going to write about what you're trying to write about. It's just the key is don't ramble. Don't get into other topics that are unrelated. Make the pages and the content highly topical and relevant. Now we get into Google Plus One. And this was a eureka moment for John and I. We're both fans of Google Plus. But if you look at, well, first of all, consider it this way. Google is Google, right? Google owns Google Plus. Logically, if it's a metric they can control, they're going to have more trust in it. They're not going to trust Facebook as much as Google Plus. They're going to trust Pinterest or Tweets as much as Google Plus because they can only control so much how much it's gained. In this case, Google Plus One or Google Plus, this is something they control, right? And it's to their benefit to use that information at least to some degree in how well a site ranks. If there's a lot of content, a lot of people talking about it, and these people happen to be well followed, are regular contributors to Google Plus, tend to be highly credible using all the various metrics that they're tracking, and they happen to talk about your site on a site and it gets a lot of traction, people are sharing it, well, that makes a lot of sense. That's something that they can use to then contribute to whether or not you should rank a little better. And it seems to appear, or I shouldn't say that, it appears, according to search metrics, that this is a strong contributor to rankings. Number of backlinks. Okay, so you've got 10,000 backlinks to your site. Great. It's just a number, but it's one of the things that they have noted as being an assistance to your site. This is something a lot of people have focused on in the past, but believe it or not, it's below Google Plus. I would never have guessed that. Facebook shares, Facebook total, Facebook comments. The total is something we can only assume about. I haven't been able to dig out exactly what that means. We're assuming it's something in between the shares and the comments. It's everything all together, but I hate assuming, so let's just ignore that. Just say Facebook shares and comments are very interesting. This is stuff that can only be, we're only talking about the stuff that Google can see, right? Facebook is a walled garden. Anything you're talking about on a personal basis between friends is generally blocked. It's not something Google can index. On public pages, such as your business page and such, they can see that. So they see people are sharing content and they're commenting regularly on something. Google can see that and they can use that in their data. Pinterest, wow, has it ever taken off? I mean, obviously it's been a long time since it took off, but it's still growing. It's still doing immensely well. It's not a walled garden. It's something Google can index. Awesome. Now, another thing here is you look at Twitter, 554.7 million users. Not bad, eh? Only 44% or 250 million are active users per month. And I question just how active they're considering active is. If they consider me active, well, they've got a bad metric. I use it once a month. I am not a big fan of Twitter. Well, I shouldn't say once, maybe 12, 15 times a month, but I'm mostly doing it half-assed. I kind of lost a lot of luster for that. But you look at Google Plus, not bad too. Apparently has 1 billion people using it, but that was kind of a misnomer because at the beginning they said they had, as soon as they launched, they had 500 million, which isn't true. Technically it is, I guess, but in this case they're considering anyone who's a Gmail user to be one, and that's not fair. So really, it has 359 million active users per month. But if you consider the fact that it has since grown to 1 billion, that's 500 million, let's say, of true legitimate users, and 359 million of them are still using it, that's an amazing metric. I haven't figured out the percentage, but that's got to be up in that high 70s percentile of actual users continuing to use it. Pretty cool. Facebook, 23%. So in other words, they claim to have nearly 100% of its users active monthly. I know that's not true. And some of this data might be out of date. I have to state that. But Search Engine Journal had this on there recently, and it was some good data I wanted to share. It really, what it does is it shows you just how active these communities are and whether or not they're worth the time. Twitter has a lot of power in terms of getting shares, anything that's really interesting on a daily basis that's breaking news. But each one of these have their different place or role in our businesses. Google Plus, I like to use for creating a discussion. It's great for communities. It's the kind of place where I go to make genuine connections with business people or people who are genuinely interested in what I'm interested in, maybe photography. Facebook, I go there to, well, catch up with my friends, post funny things, laugh, cry when I see something sad happen to a family member, whatever. It's this kind of place that you keep in touch. There is a business aspect. It's very powerful for business in terms of the advertising, but it's not. Some people say it's declining in terms of the benefit for business because of some recent changes, or fairly recent, I guess it's about 6 months now, where Facebook cut back just how often one of your posts or ads will appear to your people who might be following you, or in this case, who liked your page. And it's caused huge issues for people's bottom line. And I don't expect Facebook will do anything less than screw that up even more soon. I know I'm a bit of a pessimist, but that's what I think. Now let's see. For influencers, and this is another thing that came from that Technorati influence report, it shows which ones created the most referrals. Now this isn't up to date, it's 2013. I'd be extremely surprised if Google Plus hasn't moved its way up below Twitter or at least LinkedIn. But I don't have the data, so I can't say that for sure. It's just based on what I've seen lately. At any rate, Facebook has been huge for referrals for influencers. Now, influencers are people who have a ton of followers, like we're talking many, many thousands. And also, it is the best place for sharing, along with Twitter. This is particularly true when it's anything social, like truly social, something that is breaking news, something that's celebrity related, that is tech, anything that people get excited about looking at. So if you look at Facebook, this is one of those great places if you've got an affiliate product for you to talk about and get people pumped about a particular product, but you have to be very carefully. We're dealing with people who are there for fun. They don't want to be pitched. But as I'm sure you've seen in your time if you're a Facebook user, same with Twitter, there's soft ways to present questions about products, about health issues that then lead you to finding their product or asking questions which allow them to introduce their product. And it doesn't seem like you're being manipulated. Of course you are, but of course that's our world these days. Everyone's being manipulated. Now, I just want to make a note, Lucy, and I want to remind you that there is a question box if you want to add any questions to our questions for the end of the show or even during. I know Lucy and Phil will answer what they can during the show if it's something very simple. If it's something that requires my input, we'll talk about it at the end as well. Okay, back to this. Generates the most revenue, Facebook, Twitter. A lot of these things are all online. LinkedIn was impressive here for generating the most revenue. I haven't had that experience. I use it personally as a testimonials base, but that's very intriguing, right? This is the kind of thing that a lot of people are forgetting about LinkedIn as anything more than just a place to post what they're doing right now in terms of their business. But it's got great communities. It's a place where you can answer people's questions. It's very business-centric, and as such, if you make a good impact and a good first impression, you can get a lot of business out of it. Ultimately, you want people to share your content. If someone trusts trusts your content enough to share it, their friends will also have a level of trust in what they see. And that is the kind of thing that will lead to sales as well, or at least to perhaps other conversions on your site, be it email, newsletters, likes of your pages, likes of a product, all the different things that do lead to a better opportunity for a sale. Now let's look at some SEO tips here, okay? Now, I knew I'd be remiss if I didn't get into some of this stuff, so let's go through these one at a time. Include multimedia of some kind. These are all the things. I've read a ton of stuff. I know this stuff like the back of my hand from also working with their existing clients. There are certain things that Google loves to see, and they love it when you have content, like say you've written a great article on the latest fashions coming out of Paris. Well, if you have video integrated within that content, kind of left aligned, the content's wrapped around it, but it's of one of a particular walkway, whatever it might be. It could be another one that's just an image. It can be audio. These are all things you can embed within content. it shows not only that this is not a sort of a thin content, this isn't garbage. You've put time into it. If they can see that everything is related semantically, in other words, the meaning of what you've written matches the meaning that Google can tell from the various multimedia, and the meaning could be from their YouTube description, could be from the soundbite description if you got a WAV file or MP3 file that we can play for our podcast, the alt attributes attached to an image. These are all things that you should make sure are there, by the way. When you're putting this content into a page, make sure that they have descriptive elements within these multimedia pieces so that Google can more simply determine that everything is interconnected. Then you get a chance also not only of boosting the benefit of the page for a user, but Google can see it and also has the potential of using that multimedia within search results. Because as we all know, universal search results are here. They've been around forever. When you do a search, you can see images appear. Sometimes videos appear within search. Where do they get that from? Well, they get it from places where they're certain there's a semantic relevance to what you're searching for. And if you can be one of those places, well, all the power to you. You get that much more traffic. Link carefully. Oh, I can't say this enough. If you're linking to, maybe let's say a review or of a product, or linking to another website, make sure that that site is something you want to be related with, you want to be connected to. If it's not, use a no-follow tag. If you want to know more about the no-follow, just type that in online, no-follow, and it'll explain to you what it is and how to use it. It's important because if you don't extract yourself from something you don't really want to be connected with, Google could let a little of the negativity rub off on you. It devalues the link and the content of your page a little bit. All these are small, but they all add up, all these little metrics. However, if you link to someone like CNBC or CNN or a local news station that has done a recent article on the product or whatever you're relating to or talking about, that is good. You don't want to no-follow that. That's the kind of thing that Google goes, wow, okay, this person is talking about this. Again, they know semantically the meaning. That's the other word for semantic is meaning. The meaning of what your page is about, and they can see that that correlates to the link that you've just placed on your page, which is, again, in this case could be video from a newscast. It's multimedia. It's connecting. These are powerful connections. You're, in a sense, joining yourself with them. You're saying, hey, these are great guys. People can see that. There's a rub-off. It's good. AdSense and ad links. I got this information from, again, that's search metrics, ranking factors. Not all this is from that, but that's definitely one. If you have AdSense within your page, they've seen a market difference in how many sites are ranking. So if within the top 30, and especially in competitive areas, most of those sites do not have a great deal of AdSense or ad links, if any. So keep that in mind. Are you making much money off that? If it's a pittance and you think it could be impacting your ranking, take them off. What's the point in making a few cents when you can be making a whole lot more sales? Ignore mobile at your peril. I can't stress this enough. That's why I kind of put a dead center there for you. Mobile search has already surpassed that of desktop search. That's astounding to me. I kind of expected it to happen, but I guess I never expect it to happen when it does. It always kind of blows me away. So mobile is killing. It is being used regularly. People are more and more likely to buy using mobile, although it's still a little bit clunky now, although that will change now thanks to Apple's new purchasing system. I can't remember the name for it. I'm not an Apple user, but it will allow people just to buy with one click, and that is going to make mobile huge for sales. And if your site is not responsive, it's not designed to show in a very slipstream fashion on a mobile device, you need to make changes, and you need to make them now, or very, 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 very soon. Okay, so put it on top of your task list. Mobile is key. And I'll get into one of the great tools out there actually in a little bit that'll help you with that. Keyword research and semantic content. Now, keyword research, we're going to talk a little bit about what you can do with that in a bit as well, but it is key, and you want to make sure that the content you're doing is semantically relevant. So let's say, I was going to make an example of this, and I forgot to, but I'll try and do this on the fly. If you're talking about cars in an article, there are various semantically related terms for car. It could be everything from auto to automobile to junk car to brand names. All of these things are semantically related. And building content that's semantically meaningful, that has this connectivity, this mesh, this connective tissue throughout the content will pay dividends. And doing the keyword research beforehand using maybe Keyword Tracker, Word Discovery, Google Keyword Tool, which is now hidden within Google AdWords, but it's still accessible. All of this stuff will help you. You can find out what people are searching for and use that information to benefit you greatly and benefit you when you're writing this content. Titles and descriptions. Now, anyone out there who's highly experienced with SEO will know that descriptions have no bearing on whether or not you rank or not. But when you do get a ranking, your description tag will often be used as the description for the page. So it's a very effective tool for inciting a click. So let's say you're number 2 in a ranking, number 1 is above you, and they're pretty prominent, but your description nails it. It says exactly what your prospective visitor wants to see and wants to read, wants to hear, whatever it may be. This is what they want to click on. They will. You've now earned that click over your competitor who happens to be above you. Descriptions have a lot of power. Titles are over the moon important. They are used in search in terms of whether or not your site ranks or not. It is a key issue. It's the first thing people see in a search ranking, in the search result page. So you have to make sure that you have titles that are very succinct, catchy, and are keyword driven. Or at least keywords in the back seat. You want to make sure you're always driving for a user, right? You want to make sure that your content is designed for users first, search engines last. So I shouldn't have said it's keyword driven. It is very important that keywords play a strong role in designing your title tag. Okay, make sure everything's relevant. Make sure that it's extremely obvious to Google what your page is about and that it connects with the title. Everything makes sense and is connective. Grab a drink of water here. All right. Google Webmaster Tools is your friend. A lot of people out there do not have Google Webmaster Tools set up. If you don't know what it is, go and type in Google Webmaster Tools online and get it set up immediately. I can't stress this enough. It is Google's method of informing you if there's any issues on your website that you should be aware of. It could be your site has been hacked. It could be you have fallen afoul of Google's guidelines and you need to fix this or else your site will be removed. Whoa, that's pretty important, right? If you are not in Google Webmaster Tools, if you're not signed up, you will not get this information and you could be kissing your whole website goodbye if something does go wrong. It seems pretty alarmist, but it's true. People have lost all their rankings because they haven't been even aware there's an issue. I would say in most cases they're aware, but they thought they're getting away with it. Well, no, they weren't. Google knew about it, and they were willing to notify them, but they hadn't set up their Google Webmaster Tools account. Use schema.org and Open Graph. This is markup. This is the kind of markup that's put in behind the code on your page. So let's say you have an address on your page. You would use schema markup to tell Google or tell their machine learning system that this piece of text is a postal code. It makes things hell of a lot easier for Google when it's indexing the content, when it's reading and digesting the content. It goes, oh, this is a postal code. Oh, this is an address. Oh, this is a map coordinates. It doesn't have to try and figure it out. It can tell. It will trust it. There's no reason for it not to. If obviously, if you try and screw with them, they're going to figure it out. They do have methods of knowing. But you wouldn't anyway. What's the point? In this case, use schema to identify elements of content on your site and make it that much easier for it to be integrated into Google search and potentially used to benefit you. Very, very important. And Open Graph is awesome. It allows you to control how, at least to a large degree, how your page will look when it's shared in Facebook, shared in any social platform for that matter. What image is going to be used as a featured image, what description you want to use, what title you want to use. You can control all of that using Open Graph, and there's plugins for WordPress that allow you to edit this. All of these things are often forgotten by affiliates and other types of marketers, and they're simple to implement, time-consuming, yes, but fairly simple to implement. There's tools galore out there. Google's got lots of great tutorials, but it has to be done. Decode your headers. This is relatively technical, but if you go to Google and type in HTTP header, so HTTP header checker, we have one actually on Stepforth's website, but what it will allow you to do is, and then you put in a URL, let's say your home page. It will show you what Google sees in terms of the message provided by your server to anyone visiting that page. And that message can be incredibly relevant to whether or not the page is being indexed properly or not. It could be providing wrong codes that will tell Google not to index the page. You could tell Google improper codes like, for example, if someone goes to a bad page on your site and it should be an error 404, it's providing an error 200, which means everything's good. So in other words, it's saying, oh, everything's great, there's no problem here. Google doesn't like that. These are elements that you want to make sure, and they'll know, by the way, they will know. They can tell from the content on the page and what was provided. That's the kind of thing that you need to ensure does not happen on your site. And you can read a ton of information about headers online, so keep that in mind. All right, there's a bit of a download on SEO tips. Let's get back into the groove here. Tactics. Whoa, sorry if I burned your eyes out there. Red. I like red. I don't know. I can't help it. Okay. Use Google+. It is awesome. And I'm going to say it again and again and again. Because how could you go wrong devoting yourself to a product that Google owns? I'm not a huge Google fan, but I am a realist. If you're investing in doing well online and you want to get great rankings on Google, invest in their properties. It's just the way to go. And in Google+, it's been relatively proven. You always have to take the stuff with a grain of salt, but I mean, people who I respect highly, and I have proven that Google+ profiles pass authority, and I believe even actually Google said this. What am I saying here? But the fact is, it only happens if your profile has authority. So people are sharing your profile, talking about you. If Google can see that you're active on your profile. So you go to Google+, you're posting, you're creating unique content only for your profile. I know that seems like a lot of work, but you can do that and make it work. If you're providing great content, it will get shared and it will take off like you won't believe. Some people are absolutely astounded by how much traffic they've gotten. And it does take a little time. I think one of the most important things to do is to use communities. So let's jump into some of the tactics on how to use Google. Make it your primary content outlet. Let's go for it. You're all in. And write content specifically and only for Google+. Could be reviews, could be anything you want. You can embed it. So when I'm talking about leveraging here, you can embed that content within your blog so that you're getting some multi-purpose benefits here. But the problem is it's an iframe. Now what that means, if anyone is just going blank here, iframes essentially just means like it's a window in your page to another page. Google can't see what's in that window. It can guess from the link, but it won't give you relevance on that page. So you're going to have to add a bit of content on the blog post as well around this, saying, this is an article I wrote about, and here it is below. And that way Google can figure out what the connection is. Then share your post socially to pull your viewers back to the network. So if you know, Google Plus is something that you're doing really well with, and you want to, you know, you've made all these commitments and investments, well, drag people there. Get them interested in it, because the more that do, the better you're going to do. Now, and how does that work? Well, think of it in this way. Did you realize that if someone likes you or follows you on Google+, your content is going to show up more often to them within Google search? It's 100% true. If they follow you, you write great content, they do a search that's relevant to that content, you're going to show up. And you're going to show up prominently too, because they follow you. Wow. I mean, that's worth all the work right there. That's the kind of thing that's going to pay off. Okay, communities. I have lots of stories about this. I know I'm already running a little tight on time here. Fact is, stories are huge. These are the things that, communities are huge here. I'm getting out of track here. Communities. The interior design community I'm not an interior designer by any means, but I was invited to be the SEO lead for the interior design community to help people in interior design optimize their sites, because frankly they don't have time for it. And as a result, I became a moderator when it was about 3,000 members. It's now at 26,400 members. Wow, that's a year? I think it's been a year and a bit. That's amazing. And these are active. A lot of them are very active within this community. And it's someone just set up for fun at the beginning. I mean, I think Lori, who did it, I never guessed it would get this big. And she's now the #1, what's the word for it? She is known as the most influential person on interior design on Google+. Just because she created this community and it took off. Now, I know she's done a lot of work, so I'm not, downplaying that. But that's amazing. Amazing. If you type in interior design within Google+, you'll be hard-pressed not to find her or find the content. SEO 101, we have a community. It has brought out some of the most amazing people who are helping to run it. It's kind of like a forum, except in this case, it's far more interactive. I feel like I know a lot of people there that are interacting, and I'm barely ever there. But they are fans of the show, and they go there to talk about what we've been talking about, to share their own ideas, answer questions. Wow. Best part about it is if you create a community and it takes off, you've got this beautiful, bright, I think it's red, logo next to your name saying owner on anything you post. That carries a lot of weight, and it shows that you are talking about credibility. That's the kind of thing that will pay off. Now, a few things here too. There are certain people that you should follow if you want to know more about Google+. Definitely Mark Traphagen. I interviewed him recently at one of the conferences I was at. Just a great guy, and really an authority on Google+. David Aberland as well, amazing. These people will guarantee you within just a couple of days you'll learn a ton about Google+, even if you just look at their historical posts. Communities, Google Authorship and Author Rank, Google+ for small business. These are all very busy communities that you'll, again, learn a lot from. I pride myself on making sure that SEO 101 podcast has a lot of information on this. Between John and I, we're very big on Google+, and John is the head of social media and SEO for Advanced Internet, who owns Reddit, who owns Condé Nast. I mean, he's high-end corporate SEO, and I'm small and medium-sized business SEO. And I've been doing it a long time as well, so I know that stuff like the back of my hand. Between the two of us, we cover all the bases for both Google+ and a lot of the other social networks as well. So I think you'll learn a lot there. If you ever have any questions, you can always post them on our community, and we get an answer to you. This is all ways for you to differentiate yourself, all ways for you to stand out from your competitors who are just following the same old tactics they always have, trying to stay ahead of Google for rankings. God, no. that is not the way to go. It's just too much. Now, YouTube. It is incredible to me just how interactive people are on YouTube. If you, here it is, 58% of internet users in the U.S. have a YouTube account, and 18% of them access it daily. Not only that, but when I did this research, I was doing this for another presentation I was doing, and also for a tutorial for a client. I discovered that they are some of the most passionate commenters. If they comment, they expect a response, by the way. So if you have anyone comment on your YouTube, they are going to expect a response, and you cannot let that sit, okay? So, we look at the tactics here. First, these are different ways you can use it. You can demonstrate products. Use a real person. Stand by it. Be the person that is the authority on a particular product and put it out there. Put it on YouTube. Use it for testimonials. Sell yourself first. If there's a way it would sell you to buy your product, you got to think about that sometimes. This is what would really sell me. I'm pretty skeptical. Do that, but do better. Respond to reviews and FAQs. If someone does a review online, and let's say you think they missed stuff, hey, call them out on it, politely, and just say, hey, I wanted to add a few things to this excellent review I saw. They'll probably link to it. They'll thank you. This is the kind of thing that can connect you with them and give you a little bit of leverage with your product for your affiliate marketing. Respond promptly. Again, that's where I started with all this. Be the person that is there when they ask a question or comment on your video. I have to admit, I'm pretty bad at that. I have people commenting and saying stuff to me on Google Plus or Twitter, and it takes me a couple days to get to it. I'm not a good example, and it's tough. All of you guys will find this could be very tough, but you can have someone who just monitors that on a daily basis. Just takes maybe 20 minutes of the day, 2 separate times, just to check through, make sure no one's commented, get back to them immediately that they have. Share and post anything you put on YouTube widely. The beauty of it is you can embed it everywhere, and it's really easy to share because they've got a fairly short URL. And a lot of people like to look at them, especially if it's something interesting or even better, funny. There's a lot of ways to go about this. Add this. What an amazing plugin for any website. I love this tool. And the reason I love it so much is it's very simple. You just put a piece of code in your page. That code allows the system to run on your site. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to say, oh, this is where I want it to be, et cetera, although you can do that. Then you just go to add this and activate or deactivate certain features, such as side social sharing bars. So you've got a bar on the side where it says share on Facebook, et cetera, all that stuff's on the side. You just follow that, bam. It's very easy. People click on it. It'll show how many times it was shared. You can have another one which shows related content. That appears. All of these things are a simple turn on, turn off feature within their website. And even if someone copies and shares your URL, that is going to be tracked. And that you will not believe how many people do that. I'm going to start cruising here. I'm getting some time warnings. I can't believe how fast these things go. Okay, so content. You need to get good ideas for content. Here are a few different ways of doing it. BuzzFeed, Distractify, Viral Nova, Upworthy, Washington Post, following the hashtag breaking news or breaking. These are all fantastic places to see what's on people's mind right now. And you go there, you'll find out what's going on, try and create content that dovetails into this latest news, and you will get a little more play that way. Questions. Unfortunately, I realized that, as I said it earlier, LinkedIn Answers is no longer there. Oops. But in any case, it was very powerful. These are all other sites, though, that specialize in questions. Find questions that might be related to what you're talking about, or find questions that you can answer. Okay? This is the kind of stuff that will pay dividends because you know people are looking for the answers, so write about them. Write the answers. Either write them on their site, heck, do both. Answer the question in Quora. Answer it and blurt it. Then create another article about it on Google Plus or on your site. If you want to own it, Go for Google+. Create that place. Create that profile that's going to create credibility that'll pass along to your other sales. Neil Patel, lots of stories about this guy. He's a good guy, has done really well, and known him since he started. Anyways, he has got some fantastic ideas on how to write blog posts, how to do it regularly. Here are a few tips. I'll jump past this in a moment. You can easily go back to this. All this stuff will be presented online again very soon. It'll be there for you to look at. Okay. This is one of my favorite strategies. If you want to get some play, let's say you're just dying to get a little bit of exposure, build up some social connections, find an authority that's written something fairly controversial or something you can spin controversially, and write an opposing post. Say, this is what he said, and this is how I feel about it. And then ask that person, say, hey, look, I responded to your post. I would love for you to what's your viewpoint on what I said? They're going to be hard pressed, especially if you've called them on something said they made a mistake. Their ego will be all over that. They will either respond to you on your site or respond to you on their site. All of this drags people in. It pulls you into the conversation and makes you more public and builds links to your page and builds the kind of credibility that Google wants to see and people want to see. Okay. Now, Lucy, I see you say I've got 5 minutes left. Does that include what I have left for questions, or is this just?
Ross, why don't you go ahead, take the time, and we can ask people to submit any questions they have through email.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That sounds good. Yeah, I just don't want to lose anything here because there's a lot to share, as you can tell. I've put a lot of time to this. Tools I love for SEO. These are awesome tools. Screaming Frog. This is probably one that almost all of anyone who's done SEO professionally of any degree has used it. It's only $99 a year, and it's a tool that allows you to index a website as a search engine would. Provides you all the detail of pages, of the ins and outs of what's good and what's not. It certainly takes a bit of experience to ascertain what you're seeing, but it wouldn't take you much time to figure that out. It just takes a little bit of reading. Okay. SEMrush. I think of all of them, it's probably my favorite tool, simply because I can look on it, type in a website, and find out within minutes, or within seconds, I should say, what a particular website is ranking for. And I can even choose which country I want to know. Wow, that's amazing. And I think it's $80 a month or something like that. All these add up, I know, but this is the kind of information you need to know when you're doing any kind of keyword research, which I'll get to in a sec as well. Link research tool is great for links, any kind of link diagnoses. If you've got an issue with links, if Google's warned you there's something wrong with your site, this is the tool we use. HTTP headers, again, I was talking about that earlier. You want to see what a page is telling Google when you get to it. This is what you want to use. This is a plugin in Chrome, web developer plugin that will allow you to look at your page in different code in different ways to highlight issues. Google Analytics Checker, make sure every page on your site has Google Analytics properly installed if that's what you're using. I certainly recommend running it on the side. If you're not using it, it's still there as data for a marketing expert who can use it later. Competitive analysis. Previous tools I certainly use, but also domain tools. Google search operators. There's a lot of really cool operators that people don't use very often. They're very advanced, but they allow you to do amazing searches within Google's extensive database. And here's this bit.ly will take you to an MIT link that has a whole list of what they are and how you use them. SimilarWeb, blows your mind what a tool like this can find out about a person or a website and what they've been doing and how the history of it and what kind of users they have, kind of traffic. It's downright scary. Very, very, very cool. Social Mention, I mentioned it earlier, is the site to go to see what your competition's been up to, what tweets or any kind of activity in the social realm has taken off, what hasn't. It's pretty powerful. Social Pro is Twitter exclusively, but you will not find a better program for breaking down Twitter and finding out what works and what doesn't for both you and your competitors. Go conversions. I was trying to struggle through another one. I know I've forgotten one, but Hello Bar is great. You know, having goals for your website, I cannot stress enough. Again, we're probably talking 99% of the clients, at least in the small business, do not even think about this. You have to have goals. You have to have something you're striving for other than just a phone call. On your website, you have to stop to see what works and what doesn't. And this Hello Bar is so cool. It just appears in the top of your screen when people get to your website, and it can have a goal. Here, click here to get access to an email that will give you 10 tips for web marketing success. They just click, done. It's a conversion factor, and it's a simple, and it's free, by the way, bar you can add to your website. And when it comes to affiliates, when it comes to any product online or service, everyone wants the conversion. This is a way for you to at least get something out of every one of those visits, or every few of those visits that you didn't get before. Okay, use it. Website optimization. These are all different tools that you can use when you're considering re-optimizing your website, and I mean from a website perspective, not SEO. Yeah, for example, usability. Are people using your website and getting around it properly? Are they finding breaks in it? Are they leaving quickly? Why are they leaving? Optimizely allows A/B testing. And I mentioned earlier I was going to tell you about a mobile tool. Limelight Responsive is amazing. It'll allow you to look at your website in different browsers, and it'll tell you what issues you're facing and how to fix them. Certainly, Google PageSpeed tool will give you more of an in-depth idea of what you need to do to fix things as well. I didn't put that on here, but just type in Google PageSpeed and you'll get that info. Keywords, wrapping up here, but use pay-per-click competitive data. This is a few tips. If you go to SpyFu, if you use SEMrush, any of those tools will give you an idea of what your competitors are using when they're doing pay-per-click. Use Google Trends to target seasonality. Google Trends will allow you to see when a keyword gets the most searches throughout the year. That will allow you to target certain marketing at certain times of the year, so you're not always focusing on getting a ranking when you really don't need to. Jargon and bafflegab are great if you know the person you're targeting uses it. If they don't, well, what's the point of marketing, right? Don't use it if you don't need to. And mind your own data. A lot of people don't use the data they have from analytics. There's a ton of data right there. That's the stuff that, again, your competitors aren't likely not doing properly. And discover where they're ranking. Your competitors are ranking. What are they targeting? And what's the average cost for those rankings? You can find all that out in SEMrush. Short tail and long tail. There are two different types of keywords that are classes of keywords, I should say. The short tail, whoa, it'd be really cool to get #1 ranking for acne treatment. But the fact is, there's over 7 million results. You're going to be competing against WebMD, Mayo Clinic, and are the people really looking to buy? No, there's a lot of different reasons they could be doing that search. However, if you search for acne scar treatment product reviews, well, you're getting a long tail. This is the people who are looking with depth. They're looking with a certain amount of intent. And your competition's a lot easier. Scar removal creams review.com, you can bet that's not a big brand. Okay, probably someone just like you, if you were doing acne treatment, this is just an example, that you could target, right? And your search motive is likely purchasing. You're really close to purchasing. This is certainly more of a bet than you would have if you had a short tail. You could just focus on long tail. They're a lot easier to get rankings for. A lot of people just have their businesses based on the long tail, and short tails is a nice benefit if they get it. Okay. Here's my coordinates. Just $49 a year, marketinghigh.com. You'll get answers from me, that's myself, and Scott, my senior SEO. I've been doing this 18 years. This is my 18th year, I should say, and he's been doing it over 12. We can answer all your questions, and you can get unlimited for $49 a year. You won't beat that. You just simply can't. And we're proud of it because we want to make sure that small businesses have a way to get answers from people who are ethical. We only use white hat tactics, and you're certain not to get, well, frankly, you're not going to get the kind of answers that aren't going to help you. We're going to make sure that we help you. Other websites I have and coordinates right there in case you have any questions. I know we didn't get any added to our list, but if you do have any you'd like to add, you can always email us, and I've got my various ways of connecting with me there. My email, which oddly I forgot to add, is ross@stepforth.com. That's stepforth.com. And that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed that. And
Thank you very much, Ross. That was a fabulous presentation. There's just a wealth of information there. We really appreciate it. And for everyone who's listening and who registered, there will be a video with all the slides available for you to watch. You can just keep a watch on ABestWeb, and we'll give you the information of how to access that. And again, any questions, you can send an email to the addresses that Ross gave you, or you can send them to me at phil@abestweb.com, and I'll make sure that Ross gets them also. And thanks everyone for joining us. I'm sure it was a great hour, and we all learned a lot from Ross. Thanks again, Ross.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.